This may sound like a weird question, but are forests more alive than we think? Like seriously, if you took all the people out of a forest, would it die? What if I told you that trees have been secretly gossiping in a language we're only just beginning to understand? Welcome to the Wood Wide Web. First off, let's address the part of the question about whether forests would die without people. The short answer is yes, kind of. The slightly longer answer is an absolute resounding maybe. You see, forests do require some level of human management to thrive. That's especially true for something like an old-growth forest, which has a lot of large old trees in it. These forests are so complex that they can take hundreds or even thousands of years to develop, and they have huge impacts on the surrounding environment. But they also need humans to protect them from things like logging or development. Without humans around, these forests might not look as pristine, and we might lose some of their biodiversity over time. But here's where things get really interesting. Even though forests may not survive without humans, they still manage to thrive in other ways. Like they produce way more biomass than we think they should. Biomass is basically the amount of living matter in an ecosystem at a given time. And forests that aren't managed by humans still produce lots and lots of it. It turns out that without people to chop them down, trees can grow much larger and live much longer than those in managed forests. So the answer to the question of whether forests would die without humans is both yes and no. They would certainly be different, but there's a lot that would still be alive. Which brings us to the second part of our question, the intriguing possibility that trees are gossiping in a secret language. Before we get into that though, one more quick thing. Now back to gossiping trees. It turns out that trees use chemical whispers to talk to each other. In other words, they communicate with each other through underground fungi networks. My favorite nickname for this is the Wood Wide Web. Others call it the fungal internet or the mycorrhizal network. Whatever you call it, this vast underground network connects the roots of nearby trees and allows them to share important information. Like for example, trees can warn each other about potential threats like an upcoming insect attack. Some trees actually release special chemicals into the soil when they're under attack, which other trees can then detect. When they sense danger, those trees can start producing defensive chemicals of their own before the attack even happens. That way, everyone's ready to go, and the insects don't spread as iseli from tree to tree. Trees can also use this network to find potential mates. Certain trees release special chemicals into the air and the ground in order to attract mates. When it works, the two trees can form what's known as a positive feedback loop. Each tree helps the other grow and produce more of those mate-attracting chemicals. This leads to even more growth, which releases even more chemicals, and the cycle continues. But it's not all sunshine and roses in the Wood Wide Web. There are other downsides to this underground network besides the obvious one of trees being able to warn each other about insect attacks. For example, trees that are connected by the Wood Wide Web can pass diseases back and forth as well. So if one tree gets sick, its friends can catch the disease too, and this can end up killing entire forests. For example, one of the most notorious tree diseases in the US is known as sudden oak death, and it spreads from tree to tree via the Wood Wide Web. Scientists estimate that this disease already killed between 1 and 2 billion oak trees. So there you have it. The Wood Wide Web is a fascinating, complex system that affects how trees grow, reproduce, and respond to threats. And while it does help trees communicate, it's not exactly gossip in the traditional sense. We won't be eavesdropping on trees anytime soon, but who knows what secrets they could reveal. Do you think it's cool that trees can gossip? Let me know in the comments below, and thank you for watching.